We're heading across the Atlantic to London. Tom Belger, Yahoo Finance's Tom Belger, is in London with the latest on steps to avoid a national lockdown, but that doesn't mean they're out of the woods. Tell us about this three-tier proposal, Tom.
Yeah, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, within the past half an hour, setting out new measures for the UK. He said the government even saying the UK is now at a critical juncture with cases rising. Two main things announced today, as you say. Firstly, dividing up the country into three different alert levels. Each of those will have different restrictions. And that's partly about simplifying the curbs that Britain has on a very varied, regularly changing basis across the UK. So complex, even the Prime Minister himself asked earlier in the last month, couldn't explain what the different measures were in different areas. So that'll probably be welcomed by a lot of people, given rising cases. What's more controversial, though, is plans that Johnson is imposing in the highest risk areas. We've got confirmation of new restrictions, including bars and restaurants being forced to close again altogether for the first time since we had a national lockdown earlier this year. Household mixing indoors to be banned. And on top of that, local leaders will be able to agree more curbs with government. Liverpool, the city where I used to live, one of the cities hit hardest by those new measures now because of rising cases. So a real effort, though, to make local leaders, interestingly, more involved in these decisions, as the government's been under huge political pressure from those same leaders for not involving them in decision-making so far. How far they get that support from those local leaders, they want to make them own them to get buy-in and reduce the flack on the government, is probably going to depend on how much aid the government provides to these areas. We're going to get a lot more horse trading over that. And it's worth saying, though, if every leader says they want different measures, we're potentially going to end up with just as complex a system as the one this is designed to simplify.
And Tom, there is one corporate leader who is losing his job as a result of the pandemic and the sort of economic fallout from it. That's the head of British Airways, Alex Cruz. So what happens there now?
Yeah, so officially, Alex Cruz is stepping down, but I think when someone leaves, not only with immediate effect, but also without any real explanation, certainly raises eyebrows and questions about what's really going on there and how far that really is a voluntary departure. I think what's clear is this is probably the biggest crisis in the history of Britain's flag-carrying airline, BA, part of the International Consolidated Airlines Group, IAG. And someone obviously felt it was time for new leadership. But interestingly, they've gone for an insider. They've gone for the current head or former head even of Aer Lingus, another IAG airline, Sean Doyle. Some of its rivals have been benefiting from an uplift in European tourism that we've seen of sorts, however limited that is. BA has a lot bigger challenges than this new CEO will have because it relies so much more on long haul and business flights. And those are to places where demand is much weaker, or where there's more government restrictions on travel. So in September, BA was only running a third of its usual capacity. It's taken a bigger hit in terms of its reputation. So Doyle will have a real challenge trying to turn that around because of a tidal wave of anger about job cuts, not just from the public, but from lawmakers when they slashed thousands of jobs earlier this year. Mainly a focus of such anger because it was also receiving money from the government from a program designed to stop layoffs. So he's got his work cut out, really turning around the reputation of the company, but also doing something to figure out how to get this airline effectively to survive, given the bleak forecasts for the industry as a whole.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.